Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaylee and these are my books. So today's video is very exciting because I am sharing my birthday book haul. So I already have on my channel a birthday book shopping vlog and haul. Now that haul is just the books I bought in that book shopping vlog. These books are the books I got outside of that vlog, either gifted for me for my birthday or in different shopping experiences I had for my birthday, including a very lucrative library sale book haul where I got like 10 books for $6 total. Very excited about it. But I have 17 books to haul today, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into that. Please remember to like this video and subscribe for more content, and now let's cut to the books. The first book I have is The Perfect Stranger by Megan Miranda. I've only read one book from Megan Miranda. I don't remember the title right now, but it's up on the screen here, and I really enjoyed that book. Something about Megan Miranda's covers too just like look so nice. I love the colors that she uses, and so I really want to read more of her books and see if she's a thriller author that I love, because I have loved that one book from her. So excited to give this one a go. I know nothing about this plot. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know anything about this plot, because I don't. But it's a thriller. Yes. The next book I have is Tessa Dare's A Week to Be Wicked. I'm a part of a read-along it's over many months of a bunch of people on Instagram reading Tessa Dare's backlist, and I wanted in on this because I've always been wanting to look more into historical romances. So this is the book that we're reading next month. Again, I don't know anything about this book besides the fact that it is a historical romance novel. But looks good. I like the white on the cover. It looks pretty. Excited. The next book I have is Patricia Briggs' Moon Called. This is a urban fantasy book, I believe. I believe it's has to do with like werewolves and stuff like that. I think it has some romance in it as well. I don't know if there's romance in this first book or if it's something that takes a couple books to get into. I've been wanting to read this book for a while. It's the Mercy Thompson series, and I feel like that's a pretty iconic fantasy series that a lot of people talk about. But I believe this is a well-loved series, so I'm excited to read it and see what the hype is about. I am a little bit nervous though, because I think this is one of those early 2000 fantasy series. Let's see. Yeah, 2006. And we all know the early 2000s had a lot of problematic moments, and that books from the early 2000s tend to replicate many of these problematic sayings and character types. So I don't know for sure if I will like this book, but I did just recently read the Fever series and I really enjoyed those books. So I think this could be a similar vibe to the Fever series. That's what I'm hoping, at least. The next book I have is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is book 2 in the Wheel of Time series. I have book 1. Have I read book 1? No. But you know, I think I'm gonna really like this series. It's one of those epic fantasy series that's so iconic, and my man, Brandon Sanderson, he wrote the last books in the series, and Brandon Sanderson is like my favorite author. So I need to read these series just to get to the books that he wrote, which I'm sure is like blasphemy to a lot of people to hear, because I'm sure like Robert Jordan is like iconic. But for me, I'm like, let's get to the Brandy Sandy books. But yeah, this is book 2. I don't really know what the series is about. It's one of those epic adult fantasy series. It's a modern classic. I need to read it. I think I'm gonna love it once I do read it. The next book I have is The Other People by C.J. Tudor. I've read a couple of C.J. Tudor's other books and I've really enjoyed them. He kind of crosses the line between horror and thriller, and this I saw in the library sale and I think it's gonna be awesome. So this book is following 2 different point of views, I believe. And basically it's revolving around the story of a kidnapped girl, like a young kid. And basically it's the father of that girl looking for her, and then a different woman who knows what happens to the girl but can't say anything because otherwise bad things will happen to her. I believe that's a very rough recap. Again, I haven't read these books. I don't know for sure what they're about, and I don't like to go into my books knowing too much. But this book just sounds good, and the cover is so cool. I love the colors on this cover, and C.J. Tudor is great. I'm trying to resist saying I'm excited because I've ended each little book clip with I'm excited, but I'm excited. The next book is a bit of a risk for me, and this is Devolution by Max Brooks. And on paper, I should love this book. This is like a horror novel about a Sasquatch, a first-hand account of the Rainier Sasquatch Massacre. And that's all I really needed to hear to be very interested, but I love snowy settings. Snowy settings for thrillers is like my favorite setting of all time, besides a haunted house. And this is obviously set on a snowy mountain, I think. The reason why I'm not why I haven't read this already and why I'm only hauling it when I could buy this for $1 at my library is because this is the same author as the man who wrote World War Z. And I hated World War Z. I DNF'd it. The writing style did not work for me. Specifically, the writing style is what didn't work for me. So that's why I'm scared for this book. But the premise is so good and I couldn't pass this up being only $1, so I'm still gonna give it a try. The next two books are extra special because they are the books that came in my Arcane Society subscription box. I have since canceled Arcane Society, not because of them, I just couldn't afford all these boxes that I was getting monthly, so I canceled all of them. But this is the first and only box I've ever gotten for them. Arcane Society is a fantasy romance box that focuses on self-published authors and sends out special edition hardcovers. And this is the Olympus Pride series, the first two books in that, from Suzanne Wright. And first of all, these covers are so cool. It's hard to see, but like their eyes have color. Their eyes are blue, and then the rest of the cover is just black, gray, white, and gold. I mean, it's so cool. And then you think it couldn't get any cooler than that. And then you flip to the edges, and you flip to these edges, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then you flip to these edges, and you flip to these edges, and they're so good. I mean, they're so pretty. And they have like really pretty end pages too, and they're signed. These are just some of the coolest books that I own. Here's the signed page. And what's also cool is I don't have any books that are made like this. Like this isn't a dust cover. This is actually printed on the cover. So like, I don't have any books like this. It's adding to my book collection, a new type of book. I don't know anything about these actual books because again, I didn't pick them out. These are just what came in the subscription. I believe they're werewolf books, or at least shifter books, people that can shift into animals, which honestly a werewolf shifter novel for fantasy romance is like really low down on my preferred fantasy romance, but they're so pretty that I need to love them. I need to love them. I can't not love books that are this pretty. The next three books I have is probably one of the weirdest coincidences of all time. So I was at my library book sale. This is a tiny room, literally like the size of what's in frame is the size of the library book sale. Not many books, and they're just from donations that people bring in. And earlier that day, I watched a TikTok about a self-published sci-fi trilogy that someone really liked on TikTok. And I was like, ooh, a sci-fi, I don't even know if it's sci-fi romance or just sci-fi, but I love sci-fi. I'm always looking for new sci-fi books. And I put it on my Amazon wish list because it's not on Kindle Unlimited. You had to actually buy it on Amazon. It is still self-published though. And then I went to my library sale and found the whole trilogy there. The same day I found out about this. These are self-published books. They're not easy to find. How did I find them? Like the universe has spoken and told me to read these books. So I'm pretty sure these are gonna be a new favorite because how could they not be after that journey I made to find them? I mean, they literally fell into my lap. So the first book, which one is the first book? That is a good question. So I'm pretty sure this is the first book, Rules of Redemption, but I also have Age of Deception and Threshold of Annihilation. And they just look cool. They just look really cool. It's one of those vibes where it's like, we're gonna have a strong female main character in a cool sci-fi world. I don't really need to know more. I'm excited for these books. I'll just read the little premise at the top. It says, war hero and daughter to two houses, Kira is just beginning to learn how deep the rabbit hole goes. So it seems like we'll have a lot of politics happening in here too, which I love. The next book is 14 Ways to Die. This was also got at my library sale, and I have never heard of this book, but all I read was this tagline up here. 1 killer, 13 victims, 1 million views. So I was like, sold. I want it. And this is obviously a thriller, maybe leaning into horror. It's looking like this is about a serial killer who has killed 13 people, and they are looking for their 14th victim in this novel. I love serial killer books. I've said that in every video. I promise that I do not support serial killers in real life, but in a book, they're just so fun to read about. So this book, and the cover is really cool too. 14 Ways to Die is a cool title. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. The next book is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this is a adult fantasy novel that is a heist story. And I love Six of Crows, and I haven't read many other heist stories. Six of Crows is a heist story. So this being adult fantasy, which is now more my preference than YA fantasy, but also being a heist story with cool magic in it, gives me some feelings that are similar to Six of Crows. So I think this is gonna be awesome. I think the magic is similar to like a hacking system, so there might be some sci-fi elements in here too. The next book I actually got gifted is Horrid. Look at this cover. This has been on my Amazon wishlist ever since I saw this cover. It is beautiful. This is a YA horror book, and while I have been moving away from YA fantasy, I still really enjoy YA thrillers and YA horror because I think they're just doing something different than in adult. I like adult horror and adult thrillers as well, but to me they feel like two entirely separate genres, and I love both of them. So Horrid is a YA horror following a girl whose father just died, and it looks like she discovers a storage room that has been locked away in this house she just moved into that is actually a little girl's bedroom that has been left untouched for years and not quite as empty of inhabitants as it appears. Possibly a haunted house story? That sounds amazing. The next book is The Counselors. I got this gifted to me as well. This cover, again, I mean the YA thriller slash horror genre is killing it with these covers. This is about a murder that happens at a teen summer camp, and I mean, there's so many buzzwords in there for me. I love stories about summer camps. I love murder mysteries happening at summer camps. So this has all the makings for a new YA thriller favorite. And it's by Jessica Goodman. And I really like Jessica Goodman's other book. I can't remember the title. It's up on the screen. I'm so bad at remembering titles, but I really enjoyed that one. But overall, this seems like a perfect end of summer read too, to transition me from summer into my fall spooky reads. But let's be real, I read spooky books year round. And then continuing the YA thriller horror trend, I have My Dearest Darkest. This is a YA horror book that I believe Riley Marie really enjoyed, and I love Riley, I love her channel. And if she likes a book, I need to try that book. I'll just read the little tagline up at the front, up at the top of the back, I mean to say. While all towns have their ghosts, Rainwaters were special. The island had a habit of keeping things long after they were gone. And when Finch Chamberlain stepped foot into Rainwater, Maine, it decided to keep her. I've heard this book is sapphic as well, which another buzzword for me in books. And the cover, again, so cool. I am really excited for this book, and I think it might be another haunted story, so I'm always looking for more haunted stories. And the last book is the book with the most hype associated around it right now, and it is Magnolia Parks. This was also gifted to me by another booktuber, Sahar from Basically Bookish Reads. Thank you so much. This is a book that so many people are freaking out about right now. It's a romance book. I've heard it described as kind of Gossip Girl-ish. And it follows some super rich people with a very toxic relationship, and it's super character driven too. However, I just read Normal People and loved Normal People, and that is very character driven, so I think I still have the opportunity to love this book. I did read the Kindle sample of this book and really enjoyed the Kindle sample, which is the first like 30 pages of the book. I think the writing was amazing. I totally see the hype. So I think I'm gonna try to do a reading vlog where I read just this book for a video this month, because I think it would be fun since it has so much hype associated around it. And I just want to say too, it's so cool, the cover, how it kind of breaks genre conventions, even though this is a romance book, to have a cover that doesn't follow normal romance book conventions. I always love when a book is trying to be unique or different in some way. And one thing I've never seen before too is the back has these like very aesthetic Polaroid-esque pictures on it that I believe is supposed to be of the main couple. Just wanted to show that because I haven't seen it before. But yes, this is quite a long romance book. It's almost 500 pages, but I just read back-to-back romance books that were both over 500 pages and they went by so quick. So if I love this book, it's gonna get read for sure. That didn't make sense. If I love this book, it's gonna get read. Like, I have to read it to love it. I mean, if I love this book, it's going to get read quickly for sure. All right, that is the video. Those are all the books I got either gifted or hauled for my birthday, and I'm so excited about all of them. I have so many books now that I'm literally in the process of buying a new bookshelf because I can't do an unhaul. The solution is to buy a new bookshelf, of course. But anyways, if you've read any of these books and you have any thoughts about these books, let me know down in the comments. But other than that, please consider liking the video, subscribing for more content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!